Now this section we're going to talk about what are the disk volumes, options for managing volumes, extending and shrinking a volume, what is RAID and RAID levels. These topics we're going to look at. Disk volume, we have Windows Server 2016 supports the following volume types: simple, spanned, striped, mirrored, and RAID 5. These are the disk volume types we have. By default, all the volume will be simple volume, but after that we'll be able to do some configurations. If we want to check the server disk space, two different ways we can check. One is from disk management and another is from Windows servers. We go to disk and we'll be able to check from there. This is the locations. We'll be able to check the disk space, their allocations, informations, capacity, and partitions format as well. And alternatively, if we go to disk management, we'll be able to see all these 0, 1, 2, 3, all this disk we'll be able to see. If we using PowerShell, we'll be able to use this command: get -disk, clear -disk, initialize disk, get -volume, and format volume. Extending and shrinking a volume. You can resize volumes with Windows Server 2016. When you want to resize a disk, consider the following. You can extend or shrink NTFS volumes. You can only extend REFS volumes. You cannot resize FAT, FAT32 or EXFAT volumes. You can shrink a volume only up to immovable files. You cannot shrink a volume with bad clusters. This is the disk features we have. Yesterday we have configured disk. We have looked at how to extend, how to shrink, and how to format. And this is the features we have for FAT, FAT32, and EXFAT. And if you can't shrink, that could be the bad cluster. Bad cluster means you may have some issues with your file systems, and that's why you'll not be able to do this shrink options. What is RAID? RAID stands for Redundant Array of Independent Disk. RAID combines multiple disks into a single logical unit to provide fault tolerance and performance benefits. Provides fault tolerance by using disk mirroring and parity informations. It can provide performance benefits by spreading disk input output across multiple disks. Can be configured using several different levels. Should not replace the server backups. So these are the options we have from RAID. So let's have a look at a few different kind of RAIDs. For example, we have RAID 0. RAID 0 striped set without parity or mirroring. Striped set means once you have two disks, and if we configure RAID 0, then data will be written across the two disks. For example, A1 will be written here, A2, A3, A4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In this way, data will be read-write in both disks. Advantage of this RAID 0 is it will be faster because read-write is happening in two disks. This is faster solutions, but problem is there's no redundancy. Let's say if disk 1 is down, something happened, you're going to lose half of the data. So that's why it's not very good solutions for the redundancy purposes. RAID 1 is mirror disk. Mirror disk means you have disk 0, you mirror that disk to disk 1. You have you have exact same copy of data in disk 1. In this way, if one disk is down, still you'll have another disk, and one disk is down, you got the information in another disk. This is very good options. Many businesses, they're using RAID 1. RAID 5, this is another solutions. This solutions is disk level. In the servers, let's say in the servers, we may have 5 different disks. And if we configure RAID, then block level is striped set with parity distributed across all disks. So it is a kind of block. Each of the disk, it will have a block. Block is kind of like a volume. You have a 1, 2, 3 block, 4 block. And when you configure RAID 5, then see it has parity informations in here, parity informations here, parity informations here, parity informations here. So what this parity will do, it will provide these spaces if any of the disk failed. For example, disk 2 failed. All the informations will be distributed across all the other disks in the parity sections. So parity sections it's work as like a redundant services or redundant locations. If something happened with one of the disks, those informations will be distributed to all parity block. In this way, out of this 5 disks, it will support one disk failure. If one disk failed, still other 4 disks will be available for you. So in this way, you'll not lose any data. RAID 6. RAID 6 has advantages. It has double parity. BP, BP, CP, CP, DP, DP. So that means it will support 2 disk failure. Anything happen, it will support 2 disk failure. So if 2 disk fail, those informations will move across the other parity sections in the other disk. So that's how this RAID is very important in our server side. Now RAID 1+0, this is another solutions. Each pair of disk is mirrored, then the mirrored disks are striped. That means this disk stripe means it will be written in across the all other disks. For example, A1, A2, A4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then in this way data will be written all of the disk. After that, entire 4 disks will be copied over to another 4 disks. In this way, all this information it has a backup. All this information it has a backup. So that means it will support 4 disk failure if we configure 1+0. So if you purchase any servers, that time we need to consider this RAID functionality. But this solutions is very expensive because you'll be able to use only 4 disks. And if something happened with any of the disks, then only on the time we need that other disk. So in terms of RAID, there are 2 kinds of RAID we have. One is hardware RAID. And then is a software RAID. Hardware RAID and software RAID, 2 different kind of RAID we have. Hardware RAID means before you provisions any servers. For example, this is one of the rack mount servers we picked up. These servers, when you provisions during that time, you need to configure the disk. Maybe this server has 1 disk, 2 disk, 3 disk, so it may have a 3 disk. Normally your computers, you may have only 1 disk, but servers, they have multiple disks. If you have a 3 disk, 3 or more disk, you can configure RAID and other things. And before you install any operating systems, you need to configure this RAID. That is a hardware RAID. This is hardware RAID. And what is the software RAID? Software RAID is once you got the operating systems installed, after that you'll be able to configure this software RAID. Such as in Windows servers, we'll be able to configure software RAID. But hardware RAID is stronger. The hardware RAID is more secure. But software RAID, it's only provide the RAID in software level, not the hardware level.
So with the software RAID, it's
Yes.
not really providing the backup, is it, if it's on the same hardware disk, if it fails? Is that?
Yes, it's only software level, it is providing the redundancy. So it's not the great things, not the best, but it's better than, not having RAID. But if you configure the RAID in the hardware level, is better. Because before you install the operating systems from the BIOS, when you initially configure the servers from the BIOS, you need to configure this RAID. Then once it's done, then top of that you can create the configure this operating system. So hardware RAID is much better. Let's have a look a few more things with storage options or solutions. So this section is going to look at overview of DAS, NAS, and SANs, comparing fiber channel, Iscsi, and fiber channel over Ethernet, and understand some of the features from servers and how to configure the Windows servers file share. We're going to look at that as well. Now, what we'll do, we're going to discuss this one, but by the time we can configure, I don't need this one at the moment, I turn it off. Let's create a new virtual machines, okay? Let's go to our Hyper-V manager. And then, so virtual machines, you minimize the virtual machines. No, minimize the virtual machines, minimize. So virtual machines window, you just need to minimize. So once you minimize, then you can see this is the actual operating system, and Hyper-V is your main tools. You are working on Hyper-V. This is your Hyper-V. So if you have something running, you can, there's a nano servers or something running, you can turn off those services, then your machines will be faster. So how to turn off? You right click, if something is running, right click and say turn off. Mine one is already off, that's why I don't have that options, but if your service is on, yes. Cool. And cool, that's fine. Now let's create a new virtual machines. Click new, virtual machines. And we name it ZVM2. You put same as yesterday. You put the name For example, your first letter of your name and put VM2. Yeah, and click next. Then generation 1 and generation 2. Remember, generation 1 was old versions of virtual machines, and generation 2 is new uh, new types of virtual machines. It supports many different security features, and it supports 64-bit operating system as well. So you're going to select generation 2 and click next. Memory. So this is the memory. We're going to look at this. Use dynamic memory for these virtual machines. This is the virtual machines dynamic. Click next. Connected, we can connect external 1 and click next. And this is the disk space. This is dynamic, so it will not take all the disk right now. It may take only 10 GB or something. So we leave it like that and click next. And we need a operating systems. So we go to browse and go to our C drive, users, public documents, and select the servers. Okay. C, users, public documents, select the server's image, yeah, and click open. And then click next and finish. Now, once it's done, then we right click on this one and click connect. Connect this one, creating disk. Okay, that's fine. And then we click start. And then it will ask you to press something. So right click on your VM, connect. Yes, so mine was something happening. So just wait for that. So if it doesn't work straight away, so maybe you click on this button, and then in this way you can press something again. No, try again. Click again, click the button and press something immediately. So at the moment, connect. Okay, close this window and open again. Yeah, rest of the things you can follow. Follow, your just follow same as yesterday. You click next and follow all the steps. Okay, I think just wait for a few moments. I'll just check your servers. Yes. Yeah. We're going to use standard. Yes. Now you click.
Are we using the desktop experience or the standard?
Desktop. Okay. Now it's doing. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, and follow Mahdi. So you follow the rest of the things, click next, and then just simply you can configure.
Doesn't it change the language?
You can change it here. Oops. And make sure you select the desktop experience, standard evaluations, desktop experience here. Cool. It's installing. Okay, we leave it like that. Let's go back to our topics. Okay, we are discussing this storage options. Now we have a dash. What is a dash? Dash is directly attached storage. For example, this is one of the server types. This is looks like one of the desktop, and it has couple of disks. This is one kind of servers. Advantages: easy to configure, inexpensive solutions. For example, now you are using these servers, you're creating some virtual machines. So that servers got only one disk. That's, for example, small business solutions. So servers could be one servers like that, and it may have a couple of disks. But disadvantages: isolated because the disks are attached to a single server, less flexible for allocations. Many businesses, especially small businesses, they're using this kind of servers. Now, what is a NAS? NAS is a network attached storage. NAS is storage that is attached to a dedicated storage device and accessed through the network shares. For example, this is one of the NAS device. NAS device, it has couple of disks, and NAS device, it has some operating system. This is not a Windows servers. They have their own operating systems. You can do file sharing. You can use this one as a backup. You can do many stuffs over there. It's very good services. I'll show you one of the NAS servers I have with me. So basically, see, this is the NAS servers. This is QNAP servers, small one. is external, is kind of looks like external hard disk. This is a NAS servers, and it's got a couple of disks, 2 disks it has. They have the storage inside. There are 2 disks, so it's small servers, but many businesses they are using these NAS servers. And it has a network interface card in the back. You can see a couple of network interface cards. So it's very small servers, but very useful for the backup, file sharing, those purposes. Many businesses they're using this one, and it has a mirror disk capability. So let's say it has 2 disks, so that means you can configure mirror. So in this way, if one disk fail, another disk can be used. This brand is QNAP, but there are many other brand in the market, such as Synology, QNAP, D-Link. They have as well many different providers. They sell this kind of servers. They're very popular in the market. And we can have this kind of servers inside the businesses, but this is not a Windows server. This is just for example. What is a NAS? NAS is another servers that can be connected in our network, and if you have other servers, we can have the connectivity with that servers. Relatively inexpensive, they're not very costly. It offers centralized storage at an affordable price. Easy to configure. Disadvantages: slower access times, not an enterprise solutions. But NAS is very popular. If you work for a company looking after their IT staffs, you may find this kind of NAS device over there. So what is this SAN? SAN offers a higher availability with the most flexibility. SAN stands for Storage Area Network. So SAN offers higher availability with the most flexibility. So we have the servers and some switches, and this is the storage device. So advantages is the fastest access times, easily expandable, centralized storage, high level of redundancy. Disadvantages: more expensive, requires specialized skills. These are the disadvantages. But enterprise environment, we have many different disks. They are connected with the servers. For example, many different storage services. Their main or primary job is store the information over there. So those kind of storage or disk space, they will be connected with switch, and that's how they will be connected with your servers. They are simply storage. Implement SAN by using the fiber channel or Iscsi. So with this technology, we can have faster access to these storage devices. Now, comparison and scenarios for usage. So DAS is least complex and lowest setup cost. And this is a directly attached storage. And NAS is best solutions for specific situations, complementary to DAS and SAN. So SAN is highest performing, has the most features. Future trends: Windows Server's storage features are expanding to improve capabilities when using DAS. So Windows Server's storage will have many different options. Now, block level storage versus file level storage. Block level storage means is high performing, is often SAN based, presents logical unique numbers to servers, is not the most cost effective. Block level storage mostly is a bit expensive, and storage area network around that areas we are using this block level storage, especially when you have a terabytes and terabytes of storage. During that time, each of the storage volume is considered to be a block level. But file level, if we have a smaller storage space, then this kind of file level is used, is delivered via NAS, a storage servers, or a file servers. Uses CIFS and SMB or NFS. These are the file sharing protocol. So this kind of protocol is used for file servers and sharing the files. Uses block level storage on the storage backend. So these are the few informations we have around storage. Now, what is fiber channel? Fiber channel components include a SAN, a computer with an HBA card, a fiber channel switch. Fiber channel is one of the connectivity types. For example, if we have a servers, let's say this is our host machines. Windows servers, we create, this is host 1. And this, what is the difference between host and guest? Host means this servers is a host servers, and all the virtual machines, they are guest. We call them guest. Now, if we want to connect these servers with switch, we can connect with a fiber channel. So this is our switch, and we may connect. We can have Ethernet connections or fiber Ether channel. This is called fiber channel. Fiber channel, it will be faster. It will have a faster data transfer rate. That's the advantages we have. This is the fiber channel. And this is the switch. Switch also need to support the fiber channel. So in this way, you can have better connectivity. But fiber channel will be a bit expensive. Fiber channel over Ethernet. So that means you can still use the fiber channel, but the port can be Ethernet port. Ethernet port means normal RJ45 Ethernet cables, and that kind of port you can use. But fiber channel will be expensive. Large investment is required. And also to manage and maintain, you need some training as well around that areas. Now, this is the information about fiber channel, but what we have inside the Windows servers. Windows servers, we have Iscsi technology. Iscsi transmit Iscsi commands over IP networks. Iscsi is a storage services. It provides storage from remote locations to your devices. Let's have a look one of the example, then it will be easy for you. Let's say you have one servers in here, and this is in Sydney. And now we have 2 disks, 1 disk and 2 disks. 3 disks. This server has 3 disks. Disk 1 and disk 2. Disk 3. This server has 3 different disks. And maybe another servers or computers located in different locations. Maybe this is in Canberra. and this is in Melbourne. They're the servers. Servers, or we can say simply they are, PC. This is PC1, this is PC2. And this server, this is the servers. This is in Sydney. We can say this is Iscsi storage server. This is Iscsi storage servers, and from here we'll be able to provide access to this disk. For example, we can provide access to those devices. For example, PC1 can access this one, and PC2 will be able to access that one. Not only remote access, but also with the Iscsi command, we can take this disk from here all the way to that locations. In here. And also, for example, this disk 2, we can take all the way over there. Okay, we make a copy. All the way over there. So actually this disk 1 and disk 2 belongs to Sydney, but remotely we can make it available in Canberra and Melbourne. That is the advantage with this Iscsi storage servers. So that means this is your storage area, but disk is distributing to a lot of different places based on their requirements. Maybe they need some storage, but storage is going to provide from here. And all we need this side, we need a, this is called Iscsi initiators. Initiator. You need a Iscsi initiators, and with that you can distribute the disk. So that is the advantage with this Iscsi storage and Iscsi initiators. So we have IP. What we need an IP network. That means IP communications need to be there. Iscsi target means we need to have a Iscsi target servers. Iscsi initiator means remote locations device, and this is just a name, globally unique identifier that Iscsi uses to address initiators and targets on an Iscsi network. So you're going to configure this one, and that time we'll have a look. Iscsi, what is SMB? Okay. Okay, let's have a look what is happening with our servers. Is it, you go to your servers, you click on that one maybe. You just close the window and open again, then it should be fine. Let's put the password for your servers. Yeah. Capital R at UTE 999. That is the password. Okay, so in my computers, I have actually installed the server core. Server core was the first options. If you have a server core, basically it doesn't have anything. See, it's asking me to put the password R at UTE 999 and then R at UTE 999. This is the server core. Server core doesn't have any GUI. It's just a command prompt. See, this is my servers. And if I do now, if I want to manage this one, is config. And at the moment, I don't have any configurations. If I want to assign any IP addresses, okay. All right, so you got your servers, but actual core will be like that. It doesn't have any GUI, doesn't have anything, just completely black screen. Oops, now I can't see anything here. Okay, I'll not use this one. I'll turn off this one. I have some other VM. I'm going to use maybe some other VM. Okay, so how many your virtual machines is ready? That is fantastic. Yesterday we have assigned some IP addresses. What was the IP address yesterday we put? 10.192.168.10.1, right? So in your new virtual machines, could you please assign the IP address 192.168 10.2? This is my first VM. Starting. If I go to my second VM, it's still loading. Okay. So let's start your first VM as well. Yeah, right click and start. Yeah, connect and start. Cool. Okay, I'll open my first VM. Just want to check the IP address. It says not connected. Yesterday we didn't configure any IP address. Maybe now.
I think I have it configured on mine.
Oh, okay, okay. So
9.2.1.
I think I have some issues. I'll just fix this one. One moment. Okay, first servers, I think we had the IP address, but my machines is not connected. I'll just connect that one. Okay, so first VM, okay, now I got the IP address. This is 192.168.10.1. So yes, everybody got the first servers, you got the IP address 10.1. And now we're going to configure the IP address for second one. This is my second VM. And second VM, you're going to configure IP address 192.168.10.2, and subnet mask will be 192, just 255.255.255.0. So I'll go to local server. Mine is 10.11. That's not too bad. Okay, I'll change this one to 10.2. This way it will be easy for you. 10.2. So I put 10.2. And this firewall, it may make some problem. Yeah, let's ping. So now from first VM to second VM, we try to ping and see is working or not. 10.2. 10.2. So please, yeah, fix that one. And click OK. So this server is 10.1. My second server is 10.2. Refresh. This is the refresh button. If you refresh, you can see the actual device. So yeah, if you want to configure, go to Ethernet. Yeah, so go to Ethernet properties and use the no, cancel this one. You go to IPv4 and then you configure use the IP addresses. You configure the IP address in here. 192.168.10.2. If it is not displaying, if you already configured, if it's not displaying, just hit the refresh button. Then you'll be able to see. This is the refresh button.
Mine is keep showing as multiple IPv4 addresses on both the servers.
Okay, if you could open up your command prompt and do ipconfig, and then we'll check whether you got the correct IP or not. I think Ben, your is okay. I can see that's good.
Showing a different on mine.
Yeah, 10.2. So yeah, let me check. This is 1.1. Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, because the if you do IP config follow in this way you can check. Now if you try to ping each other, try to ping 192.168 10.1 and see. Oh, sorry. Try to ping,
Yeah.
and it should be working.
192.168.
Yes.
10.1.
Yeah.
Yeah, transmit failed.
Transmit fail. Okay.
Zahid, don't we have to put a gateway or something?
Gateway is not required because
Okay.
it's simply connect in this way. Okay. What we'll do, you check. So ping, if ping doesn't work, so that means something to do with the firewall. So see the Windows firewall in here. So click on that one. And we turn off the firewall for the time being. Turn Windows firewall on and off, and then say off and off. And then after that, you try to ping and see it's working or not. Now I'll open my command prompt and ping 192.168.10.2. Yeah, mine one is working. So make sure you open the command prompt from your servers. And
Yeah,
if I
working
type,
working after firewall.
yep. So ping 192.168 10.1. Yeah, mine one is both sides is pinging. So you need to turn up the firewall from your both servers. Then you should be able to ping each other. Because firewall is blocking this. This is the server, so firewall is blocking.
No, still showing fail.
Still failed. Okay, I'll check your one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's got some other issues. Yes, so all working. Yeah. Ben, how you doing? Your one is working, pinging both sides.
Sorry, I think I accidentally exited my virtual machines, but it should be fine. I think, yeah, I just needed to turn off the firewall, so I'll just get those running again.
Yeah, this one is okay. No, you just minimize and then you can check the other one. You got your connections and everything. Yeah. So this is your other VM. Yeah. So only if you make it bigger, then management is hard. That's why I make my virtual machines small. So when we restart or something, it says connect. If you click connect, it make bigger. And if virtual machines get Windows size getting bigger, then it's a bit problem. But if it is small, you can manage.
Oh yeah, it's definitely confusing.
Yes. So if you open your command prompt, and with that you can ping 192.168 10.1 and you can check. It's working. But is it VM? Yeah, it's working.
Okay, yep, awesome.
And both sides, if you open your command prompt, right click on the start menu, open command prompt, you can check whether it's working or not. So I think everyone virtual machines is working. So let's have a look the network part, how actually it works. So when you talk about network, virtual machines, so this is your virtual machines. They are the guest operating systems, and you have the host operating systems. Top of this host, you have this VM. Actually, we make it a bit different. Now This actual machines is connected with switch. This is your host device, host machines. This is your interface. It's connected with switch. There's a switch in here. Now, when you create external switch, so in virtually we can create virtual switch. This is called vSwitch. vSwitch. Once you create the vSwitch, virtual switch will be kind of like that. So you can add your virtual machines with the virtual switch, and virtual switch will be connected with your actual NIC card. So that is the architectures. That's why your VM, this VM and this VM, they're connected with some kind of virtual switch. In our case, maybe is connected with external or private. Those things I'm going to discuss later on. But how these two virtual machines, they are connected, because you have a virtual switch in here. That's how they're connected. Now, if you try to ping from this VM to that VM, now it's communicating via this virtual switch. Okay. Now, we can ping each other. That means we have the network connectivity with these virtual machines. Now we're going to configure the Iscsi target servers. So in our server 1, we're going to create Iscsi storage servers, and we have another server 2 that we're going to use the initiators. We make that one as a client. So let's have a look at this exercise now. We go to our first virtual machines, which is in my case VM1. This is my VM1. I don't need my command prompt. I just minimize this one. This is my VM virtual machines 1, server 1, right? Let's go to server 1 and we click on file and storage. So Ben, please open your server managers. You can open from here if you click on start menu and see the server managers. Click on this one. That's your server manager. And yeah, you click on file and storage. This is the file and storage, yes, that one. And then now we click on, we don't have any Iscsi here. Okay, what we'll do, we need to install this one. So you go to manage, click on manage, add roles and features. Click next. 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 And we have file and storage services. We expand that one and expand a bit more. And we can see this is the Iscsi target servers. See the Iscsi target servers? Please select that one. Iscsi target servers, tick that one. We're going to install that one and click next. Next and install. So tick this one, tick. So this is just tick like that, add features and click next, and then rest of the things next, 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 and finish. Excellent. Install. Simply click install and then it will install. Yes, cool. So just for a few moments, then it will appear in here. We are configuring Iscsi target servers. And normally notifications will tell whether it's configured or not. So this is done, click close. I need to connect in, refresh, so that it will provide me the options. I'll just simply go over there and click on File and Storage. Now look at that. Now we have the Iscsi tab in here. So please click on Iscsi tab. Click on Iscsi tab. Okay, so now I got this window here. And it says to create Iscsi virtual disk, start new disk. So click on that one. And it's doing something. Click next. We create disk 1. Type disk 1 and click next. And in here we have a free space 116 GB. This is dynamic. We simply put maybe 3 GB. Put 3 over there and we create one of the dynamic disk. Click next. And in here is saying new Iscsi target. We click next. We need to create a target name. I put my target name is Zahid. You can put your name over there. Yeah. That's the target name. And click next. And from here, we'll be able to specify who is going to access our disk. So in our case, we click add and we select IP address in here and type the IP address 192.168.10.2. So that means we're providing access to 10.2. So 10.2 will be able to access this device. Now, if you have a more virtual machines or more, PC, they need access, you can add IP address from here. This is the options we have. Now click next. And in here, you can set up some password and stuff, but in our case, we don't need that. We click next, and this is the summary, and we click create. Cool. It's created, created. It's good. Click close. It's done. So this is our 3 GB. What we have done, we created 3 GB disk space. And this disk space we have in here and is not connected. Cool. Now let's go to our second servers. This is, I don't need this command prompt. This is my second servers. So you minimize your first servers or but Ben, I think you did this one in your second server. See, you created your disk in VM2. Okay, so that's fine. You go back to your other, minimize this one because you don't need this one now. But I think so. We created actually in server 1. That's why we say server 2 will be able to use this one. But in your case, you actually specify, you configure the target servers in second VM.
Okay, so maybe I guess I can just configure it to look at server 1, I guess, from server 2.
Yes, so server 2, what we have to do, we need to go to properties and then let me check how to this one. So it will be server 1 IP, isn't it? So you put 192.168.10.1. Yeah. Yes, and click OK. Click OK. Okay, and all right. Now we'll go back to my our second servers, and we go to. So if you want to go to second servers, you need to minimize this window. This is the window you minimize, and go back your other servers and make it bigger so you can have full access to this one. Yeah. So everyone on the second servers, cool. Now we go to tools and click on Iscsi initiators. And then you'll get a this window. If you get a notification, say yes. Yep, yes, yes. Yeah, and say yes. Yeah. Okay. Now everybody got this window. This one is saying who is your target. So my target servers will be first server's IP address 192.168.10.1. That is my first server's IP address. I say quick connect. In this way, it will be connected. Yes, Ben, you're right. Click quick connect. Quick connect. Yeah. With Windows Firewall, many different scenarios, they causing many issues for each of the services. That's why we need to turn it off. Then we go to Iscsi initiators and type this target IP again and quick connect. Yeah, and quick connect. But it is good. What is Ashish? Is good? Yeah, okay, cool. You're right. So can't see why it's not connecting. Can you ping, because it's not connecting, can you ping from this PC to other PC? I can't see any reason why it's not connecting. I think it's good. Ben, let me check your one. So basically what is your storage? Or not in this server, so you need to connect. So what I'll do, go to tools, Iscsi initiators, and then if we put 192.168.10 dot, this is 1, but your servers is located in 10.2. So if you click quick connect, it should show you the connections. So some of you had issues, so that is actually related with switch. Yeah, now it's connected, that's fine. Everybody got connected, and click done and click OK. So now from second servers, we actually can access that disk. So how to find out that disk? We right click on the start menu, go to disk management. If we go to disk management, we'll be able to see those, see that 3 GB disk is available. So you go to disk management, you make it bigger, then you can see the disk management, not from here. So I'll just make it bigger and go to right click on the corner, go to disk management. If it is connected, it should be displaying. So you go to Iscsi initiator for me. Just go to tools, Iscsi initiators is inactive. So what you do, connect, click connect, say okay. I think there's some issues was with network problem. So you just make private connections, then you should be fine. Because external switch provide the connectivity to the outside world. That's why it's having some problem. Yes, see, connected now. Now after that, if you go to disk management, it's there. Okay, cool. So everyone got the disk management, this page? Yes. Now see, this disk is actually available on the other servers, but we bring virtually in here. So how to provisions? Right click on this one, bring online. Click online. After that, right click on this one, initialize disk. And we have MBR and GPT. So MBR is a default disk format, but we're going to use GPT in this case, and click OK. And after that, this 3 GB, we can create new simple volume. Click next, 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 name it something data, and click next, and finish. So that's how we create the disk. Yeah, click next, 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 and finish. You don't have to do any other things here. Finish here. Yes, so that's the data disk. Now, if you want to check, if I go to File Explorer, I can see if I go to this PC, look at that. This is my other disk, but I have created, this is my data disk is a 3 GB. In your case, maybe new volume. Yeah. You can check this one from the File Explorer. So this disk actually provided from my other servers in here, see, is not connected, but it should be connected now. If I go here, if I click refresh, it should be saying it's connected in here. Right, it should be connected. It's just taking a bit of time, but it's definitely connected because I can see my disk over there. So this is, I'm looking at from other servers from where I got this disk. My server 1, I have provided access, and from server 2, I'm using this disk. So that is the advantages from this Iscsi target servers and Iscsi initiators. So this disk, we provide access to remote devices, so they can access this disk from there. So Iscsi target servers is one of the solutions. With that solutions, we can make our disk available to remote locations. So you can create many different disks, but that disk can be distributed to remote servers or remote PC. They all have to be Windows 8.1, Windows 10, and Windows servers. They have these initiators tools. So target servers, we just need to install the Iscsi target servers, and on the client side, we need to install, we need to use these initiators in order to get this disk space.
So we're installing the Iscsi on the side where we want the disk to leave from, is it?
Yes, this is the server side. Yes, we install the Iscsi target servers in here. This is our target. Target is actual disk and everything, and initiator pins, this devices, they will get this space from here to there. Now, configuring sharing in Windows Server 2016. This section we're going to look at what is SMB, SMB shares, NFS, and NFS shares. So SMB stands for Server Message Block. So this is the file sharing protocol that Windows client and server operating systems use. Each new version has additional features. SMB 3.0 introduced large performance benefits. SMB 3.0.2 added scale-out file servers, removable SMB 1 point something. SMB 3.1.1 added pre-authentications integrity, SMP encryptions improvements, cluster dilate fencing. So it has a lot of advantages. Server message block. And if you want to share servers, we can do it from, share files from our servers. We can do via this SMB shares. We have two kind of file shares, SMB and NFS. SMB used for Windows-based file sharing. For example, we have our Windows servers. All these servers, they are Windows, and Windows. So we can use SMB file sharing. But if we have any other servers, for example, a Linux servers we have, and for that, we need to use NFS file share. Linux support NFS file share. So NFS and SMB, they're the protocol, file sharing protocol. So let's go to our server 1. And if we go from local servers, then file and storage, file and storage. No, you're in the same place, yes. And we click on shares. This is maybe you file in your other servers. Everybody got shares? Yeah, cool. Yeah. Now, this is file sharing options. We click task and new share. And in here, we have all these options. For example, SMB share quick, SMB share advanced, SMB share applications, and SMB share, you can read through each of the sections as well. So we have 3 different options for Windows-based file sharing protocol, and we have 2 of them, NFS and NFS quick and advanced. 2 options we have. This is for Unix or Linux-based file sharing protocol. So let's click on SMB share quick and we click next. Next again, and share name, say file 1. Type file 1 and see the share local path. Local means in the same servers, your file sharing path will be c:/shares and file 1. And remote locations, this is the file sharing, remote locations file share. This is the path. And click next. Then configuring share settings. So we got some advanced features such as enable access-based enumerations. These options, if we select, then it will hide the some permissions labeled from the user. For example, a user has only read access, so user will not be able to see these file shares if we enable this one. Then allow caching for share. This is okay. You can tick this one. If you want to encrypt this data, you can tick this one as well. But in our case, we just leave it default. Next. You can control the permissions. If you want to provide permissions to someone, you can customize the permissions. If you have any groups, you can provide permissions to certain groups. But at this stage, it's already for the users, you have some special permissions. For the administrators, we have full control. So that's pretty much okay. Click next. This is the summary, and click create and click close. Now this is we sharing this file from VM1. Now if we go to our second servers, which is in my case, this is VM11. I'll be able to access that file shares from here. We go to File Explorer, and on the top, we can write IP address or name, both will work, but I say 192.168.10.1 / see that file one is in here. You need to put double slash. See, there's double slash, you need to put double slash, and then it will work. Okay, so you can see that share is available. After that, if you put some stuffs, oh, you don't have permissions, but that's how you do the file shares. That's so we shared from the first servers and we access the file from the second servers. The file is available in these servers anyway, because this is the servers we are sharing from. So if you go to C drive and shares, and this is your file one. This is the locations from we are sharing, and we are accessing the file from second servers, server 2. So that's how the file sharing works. But if you have a NFS file share, you need to have a Unix-based systems, and with that, you'll be able to access the resources. And this file one, if you got something, it should come up automatically in here. See, the new folder appeared. If you configure any other things in here, it should come up straight away on the other side. So this is my server one, and I'm looking at my things in server two. So this is actually doing via SMB file sharing protocol. In Windows environment, we can do from this server side, and also, Windows 10 machines, we can configure like normal file sharing as well.
Hey, Zayed.
Yep.
I couldn't find a share.
You're in the different locations. This is your actual server locations. You need to go to VM1.
This is VM1.
This is VM1, but
Yeah.
it has a file 1, file 2, how all these things in here.
I don't know.
This is your VM1, so you make it bigger, and then this is your file explorer. Other one was the actual host machine's file explorer.
Oh, okay.
Now this is your file explorer, and this one, if you go to this PC, C drive, then you have these shares. Under that, if you have file, so if you create something in here, then those things will automatically appear in your second machines, because it's a file sharing. So you go to your VM2, and then see this is already there, network.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's a bit confusing because you got a lot of tabs, especially when you deal with virtual machines. It's got a lot of tabs and stuff. Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, sure.
How do I change the permissions if I want to give someone a permission? Because currently I've tried to create a new folder on each of the sides. It says you don't have permissions. How do we change that one?
So this is not a domain-based file sharing.
Yep.
That's why controlling control the permissions. It's not very flexible. But if you want to share something from your actual servers, you can do it. From the client machines, you'll not be able to do much. But I think there might be some options. This is our shares. We go to properties, permissions. Because this permissions is available for the local, is not, we don't have any groups.
Sharing groups here, poly.
Select a principal, and from here For example, you can say everyone.
Yeah.
EV everyone, check name. Yes, everyone is there. Everyone means we can put full control to everyone and click OK, apply and OK, just for testing purposes.
Yeah.
And in this way, you may be able to create something in here.
Okay.
Not yet, because it doesn't want to provide permissions to outside the servers because there's no domain in here.
Yeah.
So SMB file share, it has a bit of security. So
Yep.
that's why you don't have any permissions on the remote
Okay.
side. But once we configure, later on we configure the domain, then we can do the domain-based file sharing.
Okay, no problem.
Cool. All right, so this is the file sharing options we have looked at. Now we're going to configure another interesting stuff, that is implementing storage space. Implementing storage space and data deduplications. See, from yesterday, we're talking about many things all about files and storage. This is in your book, chapter 1 and chapter 2 is all about installations, configuring storage, file, and all these stuffs. This section is going to talk about implementing storage space, managing storage space, implementing data deduplication. So these topics we're going to look at. We're going to discuss enterprise storage solutions, storage space and how to configure that. We're going to look at those things. Now, in your storage planning, you should assess whether your storage solutions need to support capabilities such as mirror parity support, data striping, enclosure awareness, storage tiering, storage replications, data deduplications, data encryptions, and performance analysis. There are a lot of features we need to think about. For example, we want to provide, fault tolerance, redundancy. Also, if we need more storage, how are we going to add those storage inside with our servers, and encryptions. So performance, all these things we need to consider when you do our storage planning. Now, enterprise storage always getting higher. Requirements is getting higher like that. So we always need more storage. So we should have a better planning. So part of that, in Windows servers, we have some features. For example, storage space. Storage space, we can add physical disk of any type and size to a storage pool. Create highly available virtual disk from the pool. To create a virtual disk, you need one or more physical disk, a storage pool that includes the disk, virtual disk that are created within the disk from the storage pool, disk drives that are based on the virtual drives. So actually, what are the storage space? Storage space is trying to say that there are many different disk space we have around our servers. So we can collect all the disk together and we can create one of the pool. And from that pool, we'll be able to create many different disk space, or virtual disk will be able to create. In this way, we can utilize all the disk space properly. So that is the storage space facilities we have in Windows servers. Let's have a look one of the example. So how better way we can utilize our storage space? Now we have our servers in here. And with these servers, we have three different disks, disk 1, disk 2, and disk 3. They're all 10 GB disk, for example, or 10 GB. This one is 10 GB. This one is also 10 GB. So you got 10 GB disk. And all these disks, they are connected with our servers. Now we can create combined disk. For example, we can create all of them combined, and we can create storage pool. These three physical disks we can combine together. We can create a storage pool of 30 GB. After that, we can create a lot of volume from that 30 GB. For example, many different small volume we'll be able to create. Let's say we create 2 GB disk, 3 GB. They're all virtual disk, 3 GB virtual disk. Then this one may be 4 GB, 5 GB. This is maybe 10 GB. So it depends. Depends on your purpose. You can create many different types of disk. That's the advantage. So you got individual disk. They're connected with our servers. From the servers, we can create pool of combinations of all these disks 30 GB. And from that, we can utilize all these spaces in this way. And this disk will be virtual disk. They're all vDisk. Benefits of having virtual disk, they'll not take the 2 GB, 3 GB, 4 GB straightaway. You can create, you can allocate, and later on, when someone using this 2 GB or 3 GB, they will take as needed basis. That is the advantage we have. So with these solutions, we can distribute our storage in a better way. That is the advantage. Now, if we go to our servers, it says we can have physical disk. From that, we can create pool. From that pool, we can create virtual disk. And those virtual disks, we can have a disk drive. So that means we can have, this is E drive, this is F, this is G. That's how we can have the drive as well. Okay, so this is storage space. Now we're going to implement this one. So in our scenario, we do not have 3 disks connected with our servers, but we're going to create a virtual disk, and then we're going to add with our virtual machines, and then we're going to create pool. Now let's go to our disk, not disk, let's go to our Hyper-V managers. This is the Hyper-V managers. So as you can see, Hyper-V managers is one of the most important things we have in Windows servers, because top of that we can create majority of the stuffs. In here, we're going to create new hard disk. So click on new hard disk. Click next. VHDX, this is good. This is our default server side settings. We can use this one. Click next. Dynamic is better options. It will not take all the disks right now. Next, name it disk. Did you create anything with this VM? Okay, just simply put disk 10. Okay, disk 10, and see the disk 10 is actually storing on that locations, virtual hard disk. Under that it will be there. Okay, now click next, make it 10 GB, click next and finish. Now create another one. We're going to create 3 disks. So create new again, hard disk, next, 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 say disk 11, click next, 10 GB, next, finish. Now new, create hard disk again, next, next, next. This is disk 10, 11, 12. This is 12. Click next, and this is 10 GB. Click next and finish. Actually create another one more. We create 4 hard disk. Click next, next, next. This is disk 13, and click next, 10 GB, and next, and finish. So now we got 4 disks. Under the virtual hard disk, they are all actually stored over there. Now, how to access those virtual hard disks? What we'll do, we're going to go to our first VM, VM1, right click on VM1. So we right click on our VM1 and then go to settings. We're going to add all these 4 virtual hard disks with our servers.
Should I keep doing it in the VM2?
No, VM1. VM1 should be fine. Yeah. Yeah. Right click, settings. Yes. Now we have our generation 2 virtual machines. Generation 2 virtual machines, we have Iscsi controller. Iscsi controller means with this Iscsi controller, you can connect up to 64 hard disks together. Normally, any machines or computers, they have a IDE controller. This is called IDE controller. IDE controller is, if you open any laptop or desktop, they have a motherboard. In the motherboard, there's an IDE controller. So with the IDE controller, there's a cable connected with your hard disk. Normally in your laptop, if you have only one disk, that is connected with this IDE controller. So if you have 2 IDE controller, you can connect 2 disks. So normally laptops, desktop, they have a IDE, this kind of controller. But in server side, we have a Iscsi controller, especially generation 2 virtual machines. We have this Iscsi controller. We can connect up to 64 hard disks together. So that's the advantage. Now we click on Iscsi controller, click on this one and hard drive and click add. And see the virtual hard disk. And this is the Iscsi controller, and on the right hand side you can see the locations. Locations means in here we have 0, 1, 2 been used for different purposes, but we got 64 altogether disk we can have. So disk 2 is selected. Now virtual hard disk. We're going to now browse and see in here we have a disk 10. So select disk 10 and click open. So it should be added in here. Click apply. Okay, after that, do not close this window. We're going to connect all of them. Once you click apply, then click the Iscsi controller again. and then we add and then browse, and we pick up disk 11 and open. After that, click on Iscsi controller again, hard drive, add, browse, disk 12, click open, apply. Now Iscsi controller, hard drive, add, browse, disk 13. So I've added 4 of them. Everyone got 4 of them. That's fantastic. Looking good, yeah. Okay, so everybody got 4 of them. Yeah, fantastic. Apply. Okay, now with our virtual machines 1, we have added all these disks and click OK. Now we open our disk. You can make it full screen if you like. If it is, just make full screen. And now, yeah. Now we close this one. Many different way we can see. If you click on disk, ooh, it's not there. Should be here. Refresh. Click on refresh, then it should be here. Display will complete when these things will be done. Yeah, I can see some of you got the disk. Yeah, you got the disk. Only mine one is a bit slow. Yeah, now it came up. Okay, cool. So, oh, this one. Yeah, so this is the actual disk for my servers, but other disk we have added. Now this one we bring them online. Right click, bring online. Say yes. Right click, bring online. Yes. Right click, bring online. Bring online. Yeah, so all of them is now online. After that, partitions type is unknown. So that means we need to configure this one. So right click, initialize. Then it's GPT. GPT is the default server side partition. So initialize again. Say yes. Initialize. Initialize again. So we are actually simulating this, features in real life scenario. All these 4 disks, they have to be physical disk. For example, physical disk, they are connected with the server. Then we can configure these options. In our case, this is a virtual disk, but real life scenario, productions environment, it will be actual hard disk. And once the hard disk is connected, you provisions, you bring them online and just initialize them as a GPT. So now all of them is GPT. All this disk we have. If you want to double check, so right click on this corner, go to disk management, then you can see that it's same thing. See, all of the disk is over there. We don't need to format because we're going to use this disk for different purposes. See, all of them is available over there in the disk management. It's down there. Downside is there. Cool. So now we're going to create storage pool. Click on storage pool. And we can see that we have all this disk available. Now see on the right hand side, task, new storage pool. Click on this one. Click next. And from this pool, we're going to create more disk. Specify a storage pool name and subsystem. Oh, so this is, we need to create pool. Say pool 1. This is our storage pool name. Pool 1. Cool. Click next. And pool 1 we can use to create the pool. We need the hard disk, right? Those hard disks already we ready for us. So we're going to select one. All of them we can select. Yes, all of them we're going to use. But in this right hand side, you can see allocations automatic, automatic, automatic. Fourth disk. This is the disk 4. We can make it hot spare. Hot spare means that will be kind of like a spare disk. If something happen, you can utilize this disk for swapping the other disk. So that's a very good options. In this way, you can avoid the downtimes. For example, something happened with your one of the disk, still you'll have the backup. So click next. Now we'll have a 40 GB disk. Click create. And click close. Okay, now we have this 40 GB pool. If we looked at here, this is the 40 GB, but capacity is 37 GB. Something happened, some free space is 36 GB, but other spaces used for system using those spaces. Now this is our pool. Pool means we combined everything together. From that pool, we'll be able to create more virtual disk. From here, we can create new virtual hard disk. So task, new virtual hard disk. This is our pool. Click OK. And click next. And name is put vdisk1, because we already have disk 1 in somewhere else. So just put vdisk1 and click next. Yeah, click OK. Next. Name it vdisk1. Yeah, click next. Yes. The same some of the stuffs in here. This is the disk name. Second one, it says specify enclosure resiliency. What is enclosure? Enclosure means you may have some extra disk space in somewhere in your network. If you need, in case if you need, you'll be able to access those disks. That is the enclosure. So it's saying whether your pool will understand or pool will have a connectivity with the enclosure or not. So enable enclosure awareness. So whether you want to enable or not, but this things is only applicable if you have some spare physical hard disk available in your network. But leave it default. Click next. Now this is the options we have: simple, mirror, and parity. 3 options we have. Simple means it's kind of striped. Data will be data will be read across multiple disks. So when you're creating this virtual disk, it will this virtual disk, when we use read write, will happen in multiple disks. That's what it's saying. If you do mirror, data is striped across physical disk, creating 2 or 3 copies of your data. This increases reliability but reduces capacity. To protect against a single disk failure, use at least 2 disks. So 3 if you are using a cluster. To protect against 2 disk failure, use at least 5 disks. these options we have. If we select automatically in the back end, it will create the mirror disk. Or if you select parity, parity is a RAID 5. This is a software RAID we are talking about. Data and parity informations are striped across physical disk, increasing reliability but somewhat reducing capacity and performance. To protect against a single disk failure, use at least 3 disks. To protect against 2 disk failure, use at least 7 disks. So these are the options we have. In our case, maybe you select mirror. Select mirror disk. Click here, yes, and click next. And when you provision this disk, fixed or thin, fixed means exactly fixed, thin means dynamic. So dynamic is, in this case, is okay. So thin is dynamic. Select this one, click next. And what are the disk space you want? Maybe say, okay, 5 GB. So that's where you have the options. It depends based on your requirements. You can create space. Click next. So this is the virtual disk locations, and this is your provisioning. Provisioning means that's how the name of the disk, mirrored, thin, 5 GB, all these things over there. You create. Okay, so it's configuring, and click close. When you click close, then it's asking you to create new volume. Say, okay, click next. This is the 5 GB, click next. And it's saying the volume size, yes, this is perfect. Next. And then we need to have a name it. Name maybe data 2. And this is the file systems you have, REFS and NTFS. So if during the provisioning time, you can select which one is NTFS and which one is REFS. So NTFS is okay in our case. And file allocations you need, leave it default. Generate short file name, no, that's okay, no problem. Click next and create. So we create the disk, and after that we just format the disk, and now it will be available for use. Click close. So this is done. So this is our 5 GB. Now how to use this one? If I go to my file explorer, this PC, so this is my new 5 GB disk space. Okay, so the advantage is in the back end of this disk, actually there is a mirroring happening, which we can't see from here, but in the back end, that's how the storage configurations options we have. And now if you want to create more disk, for example, now we got only one disk. If you want to create another one, you just create new virtual disk. You can create many of them. That is the advantage of this storage space. You'll be able to create more disk, and their performance will be better. Many different way you'll be able to use your disk. You can, once you have a disk, you can go to properties, you can do sharing, you can maintain security, you can do quota, you can do all this functionality you'll be able to perform in here. So you can create 10, 15 different types of disk, and that can be utilized in your network in a many different way, right? That's how you can create. So that's pretty much the discussions for storage space. Any questions on that?
No questions. It'll probably just take me a few hours by myself to try and make sense of it. So I think it's all right.
Okay, yeah. Yes, but in picture is this one. Picture is we have followed many steps to configure this one, but overall picture is you add the physical hard disk with your servers, and from that servers we have configured the pool, and once we configure the pool, then we can create many different disk space. So when you work as like system admin, so basically maybe you may have many different requirements. So in order to fulfill your requirements, in order to better utilizations of your disk space, this kind of solutions you'll be able to use, and that's what is required. Now, one more small sections we have with this storage space, that is actually called data deduplications. That's what we're going to look at, data deduplications. So data deduplications is another features. This is very important. For example, we saved, even I don't know how many files I have saved. I got like many of them, many different, same name, many different files I have. So maybe some of the file I have 10 copies is sitting many different places. But in server side, if you want to manage the disk space, if you want to avoid the duplications of file, we can actually use this data deduplications features. Data deduplications features, it will remove the duplications of your data. For example, you may have one file, file 1, and that has ABCMN. This is the data we have under this file 1. And under file 2, we may have data ABC and X and Y, like that. But ABC is common in both files. So when you use the data deduplications, it will actually keep only one copy of ABC, and it will refer to MN and XY. So it's actually create a chunk store. Chunk store, you'll have only one portions, and rest of them, and it will refer to both files. You'll have only one copy, but this copy will refer to your file 1 and file 2. In this way, we can save a lot of spaces. So many different scenario we can use this one. For example, before deduplications, we had 10 terabytes inside your servers. But when you apply, okay, that's fine. So this is the 10 terabyte, but when you compressed, then actually, or when you use the data duplications, then you may have a small space, and then you can save up to 8 terabyte. This is just an example, but real life scenario, we need to check whether it is useful for us or not. So how to enable this data deduplications? Let's go to our server 1, and we have some disk in here. Data duplications we do not apply in C drive, because C drive you may have many system file and other things. This is mostly for the storage we can apply. For example, this is one of the storage. We can apply data duplications in here. Oops, at the moment don't have options, but data duplications, how to enable? So let's go to manage. add roles and features. This is one of the features. Click next, next, next. And under file and storage, expand more. This is data deduplications. Tick that one. Yep, and click next, next, and install. I think for the Windows machines, there are many third-party software we can use. We can download, but in the server side, this is a very good options. If you want to save a lot of storage, we can use these data deduplications features. Okay, so it's done. Not yet. I'll go to servers, again disk. It should be available in here. We don't have, oh, volume, sorry. Not the disk, we are looking at disk. Please go to volume. And this is our E volume, right click. See this one, configure data deduplications. It's got many features. You can share, you can do many things, but click on configure data deduplications. And data deduplications, general purpose file servers, backup servers, virtual infrastructure servers. So this is the purpose we can use, but we select general purpose. Deduplicate files older than 3 days. So yeah, if it is more than 3 days old, this deduplications will check and remove any deduplications. Remove any duplications files. That's what it will do. And custom file extensions to exclude selected folders. If you do not want to apply these data deduplications to particular folder, you can exclude that folder from here. And you can set up a schedule. Set deduplication schedule. You can, which particular day you want to do something, you can manage from here. For example, every day, maybe after 7 o'clock, you want to run these data deduplications. Or maybe if every couple of days you want to run these services, you can set up the timetable in here. And now simply you can apply. And okay. So now data deduplications will be applied in here. If you do refresh. Yeah. So that's how you enable the data deduplications. But data duplications is not a mandatory services. This is, you need to justify that whether this is useful for you or not, whether you have many different files in one place, and then you don't know, but you want to make it better, you want to optimize that particular volume, then you can apply the data deduplications over there. That is the advantage we have. So I think we have gone through many steps. You can review the slides. We have gone through just lecture slide 1, 2, and 3. And we have installed the virtual machines, and majority of the topics we have looked at from yesterday was about file systems, disk, volume, around that. Now let's go to our shared folder. This is the shared folder. I think I have shared all these folders with everyone. If we go to 7742, there's actually books over there. See the ebooks? So if you open one of the books, these 3 books actually together. So this is the 3 books we have. Now, this is first book is 7740. See, this one is all about, I make it bigger. See, install, upgrade, and migrate servers and workloads, install and configure nano servers, create, manage, and maintain image for deployment. So all these things we talked about, they are in chapter 1. Chapter 1 is all about installations. And if you go to chapter 2, configure disk and volumes, implement server storage, implement data deduplications. All these topics is part of chapter 2. So you can review the topics, you can go through the lecture slides, and many different configurations options we have in here. This book, this is not a very big book, but you can see how to configure. There's many steps in here. All the steps we talked about, how to attach a virtual hard disk, how to configure the volumes. There are a lot of informations, how to share a file, how to provide permissions, what is the SMB file share, all the steps we have in the book as well. So if you review, then I think it will be easy for you. Just review the topics, then you'll get more familiar. And next week when you do on Monday, then many things will be easy for you. We're going to start with Hyper-V. And Hyper-V, we already work with Hyper-V. We have done some configurations with the Hyper-V, so it will be easy for us. All right, yep.
Yeah, I was just wondering, are these virtual machines always going to be online, or are they just online during this session?
At this stage, it will be online during the sessions. But if you need to access, you just need to let us know, then you can provide you the access.
Yeah, no worries. Yep. Cool.
But for you in the long term, so you can create the virtual machine. Simply, you go to Google and download the Oracle VirtualBox. See? Oracle VirtualBox download. So you go simply download Oracle VM, and it has step-by-step process. It's simply, you can, at least if you configure one virtual machines, you can play with that, you can browse around, you can check a few things over from there. You'll be able to do this one. See, it's saying Windows host. If you're using Windows, you can download from here, and then you can create the virtual machines. So this is the locations. You can download Oracle VirtualBox.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Cool. So you play with these things and do some study, and we're going to see you next week, same time, Monday, 6 o'clock.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
See you
Thank
then.
you. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Khalid and Zahid. Bye.
Thank you, Mahdi. Good night.
You too.